Hello, welcome to the first of 3 videos where I'm going to explain, or at least do my best, to tell you how I gamified my financial classroom using Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow game. To give you a little bit of a background information, the cash flow game, the students draw a salary card, and they range from everything from a janitor to a doctor. So there's a lot of variation in terms of their salaries, and they get the concept that you can learn to live off less than what you make, no matter what income you have. And then the idea is that you take that money that you've lived off of that's less and put it to work so that it can provide some passive income so that you can cover your expenses in case of certain situations that make it so you can't work. So I've taken the curriculum and the gamification and I've split it up into 3 groups. So here the first one is preparing to live on less. So all the things they need to know to have a career, to make wise financial decisions, and to use their money well. Then the next one is living on less, budgeting and doing all the things, they actually living in a way that makes it so that they can then have money that they can work with. The final section is getting out of the rat race. It's putting the money to work. So I created a little time chart that gives you an idea of how long it took or how many days we spent. We spent, after the first introduction day of school, we spent 5 to 6 days learning and playing the cash flow game. It usually takes me about 3 days to help them learn to play the game. Then 15 days on the preparing to live on less and the panel that I did. And then the next one, living on less, is and the panel was another 15 days, and getting out of the rat race was about 16 days. We have a few days less because we do a different class in the middle of the semester. So here's the concepts that we're covering in this first section. They're learning about scarcity, cultural, social, and emotional influences on their financial behavior. So they use this doc to help them figure out what those are all about, and then we have a discussion about it. So they do the work, they look it up, they figure it out, and then we discuss what it is as a class from what they've learned. They can help each other, but they each have to turn in their own docs for this section. Then they're also going to learn about opportunity costs and making better decisions. So I have some links in there, but they have to come up with two significant financial decisions, the 2 choices, the pros and cons of each, and then an less significant financial decision. That can be one that they're considering and that they want to evaluate, or it can be one that they discussed with their parents and got some information from them, and we discuss it in class. Then they're going to learn about safe online shopping, the government's role in protecting the consumer, all those things. And I'll share with those who are interested, I'll share a Google folder that has all these docs and any other information that you think you might need. So then the next one is managing and protecting their money, learning some basic banking tools and services. They're going to learn about those. What are the differences? We share those. We spend a lot of time talking about credit card offers, and they get to know what the different credit card offers are, the pros and cons of each one, and we specifically talk about how to reach their goals using the card, and that the card is not to be used as a way of buying things that they don't have money for. Then they also learn about fraud, identity theft, financial schemes, and gambling. And we talk about that. The final one is finding a career and a job. As part of this simulation or this gamification, they have to find a job that they could qualify for at that time as if they were 18 and graduated. And so they list their skills and experiences, and then they go looking for a job that's out there right now that they could qualify for. And they have to put down a couple of jobs, what the salary is, and fill out this this table and demonstrate how that they're qualified for the job. And then they have to fill out the application W-4 and figure out what their net income would be if they got the job, so their team knows how much money they're going to make, an I-9, and then look at future jobs that they might be interested in. So once they're all done with these docs and they're ready to go, and I can tell they're getting close, I set up a panel and have parents and community people who come and sit on that panel. 3 to 4 people on a panel is about right, and I have 2 panels going at a time. And we have 70-minute classes, so they get about 30 minutes with each team. And I have 4 teams in my classes, so each panel does 4 teams, and I turn it over to the panel. I give them this document that has the learning targets, the things that we were working on, and the panel has this to go by, and I give this to them in advance so that they can prepare. So each of the different things that they were working on, the learning targets, about how long they're going to have on each of the sections, some ideas for questions that they can ask, and then each of the different things. So I have this, and the panelists go through this. A lot of them write down their own questions that they might want to ask, highlight things that they think are really important. They all come really prepared to help evaluate these kids. And I also have 2 paraprofessionals, one for each class. They're different ladies, and they each sit in on a panel. So they know what's going on in the classroom, and they kind of manage the panel with the other volunteers. And I turn it over to them. They decide if the kids have passed or not. They decide if the kids are qualified for the jobs, and they give them their jobs. And so that's pretty much the first section.